This is a video I've been wanting to do for a long time. Living with your parents is cool. It's really cool. People like to see I write on my I've written on my YouTube profile page that I traveled and then I brought my wife back and then she left and then I live with my mom, right? And periodically I get people who hate me for whatever reason, pointing that out, and you live with your mom, you fucking loser, in your mommy's basement, they think that that's a point to use to degrade you or something. But I mean, and it's in America, it is kind of, I guess, if you live with your mom, that's something to be ashamed about. You'll never have a female friend if you live with your mom, or you'll never get a job. It's you're so bottom of the totem pole. Even though they do in all these other countries, it's a matter of course, and I guess it's happening more and more in America. But living with your mom is cool because with your parents, it's cool because when you don't have to pay rent or your rent is really low, you can spend time doing important projects for the world that you wouldn't have the time to do. For me, I'm working on I'm spending my spare time on a audio encyclopedia, and when that gets going, that's going to be awesome. And I just wouldn't be able to do that if I had to pay rent, because that costs money and you need to work for money, which takes your time away. So it's how important is your time? It's not like I've lived with my mom that much. I mean, I lived with my mom in 2000 for 11 months, and then for 2.5 months in 2003, and then for 14 months or 15 months in 2007 to 8, and then for 1 month this March. And every time I move back in with her, she keeps telling me that I can stay less and less because I'm getting older, and she's I guess wants to live alone, even though she lives alone most of the time anyway. So basically, the plan is to just, for me, and if that's something you're interested in, is to just move in with your mom and just live with your mom as long as you can. And just don't get in their hair, lock yourself in your room and act like you're not there, Don't bother them and do your thing, because you get the free internet too, because I got the internet. So, plus, living with my mom personally is really cool because she cooks for me. Good food, too. So, plus you get to hang out with your parents. And there's something to be said with hanging out with your parents. Living with your parents, not just for save money, but you get to hang out with them, because you never know when they die, I wish I lived with my dad in his houseboat in Oakland, because I never even saw the houseboat. He lived only there for only a year or whatever, and then he died a couple years later suddenly. So, it's you never know, So it's cool to hang out with your parents. And plus, parents, they're from that fucked up generation from World War II, and they're they're basically retarded, and they're really confused and stuff. And you can teach them a lot about common sense in a way that they'd never get if you don't live with them, because you have to tell them the same thing a million times in a million different ways for them to get it to a point where they would be able to retain it for more than 5 seconds at a time, right? So you're actually doing them a favor. And it's, I find it very pleasant actually hanging out with my mom. She watches, has lots of different favorite TV shows I get to watch with her, and so yeah, the plan is just to move back with my mom, just as long as you can, and then they kick you out, and then I guess you just leave, and then I would personally, I'd just move into my van, which I've never done. I mean, well, I did it in college, but I haven't done that since then. But that would be an interesting thing to try. And then maybe they would let you move back in with them after they see that you're hardcore enough about not getting an apartment, to pay rent. Because I vowed never to pay rent ever again. I actually do own an apartment with my brothers, but I heard my mom said one of my brothers was going to move into it, so And I wouldn't want to move into it anyway because that's still paying rent. But I mean, I've already done the video about living out of your car, and living out of your car is cool. I've already done that, and that's kind of the same reasons for living with your parents. But I think living with your parents is even cooler than living with your car because you know you've got a shower right there, and it's more luxurious. Plus, you don't have anything to take care of. You know, I mean, even if you're renting a house, I mean, especially like a house, you still have all this maintenance shit to do. You know, mow a little yard, and like if it's an apartment, you know, you gotta clean it and this and that. But if you live with your parents, you only have to keep the room clean. And if you're gonna clean the house, well, then you're being your parents' maid, and you're actually doing them a favor again, on top of the favor of teaching them all of the common sense. So, yeah, I just laugh at people. It doesn't bother me at all when they're like, "You fucking loser, living with your mama." I'm like, okay, whatever. You have no idea, my friend. You keep paying rent. Yeah, so living out with your parents is totally cool, man. It's awesome.